It is Hanging with Huber, and we are here in the new Hanging with Huber studio, still working out the kinks, but very excited today to be joined by our own mini horse.
Hey,
Yay!
what's up?
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am good. It's been a weird couple of weeks since the announcement of the impending doom that is awaits 100.7 The Bay. We've all been kind of scurrying to try to figure out what's next, and I have no idea what's next for me, but I've put all my effort into building this little studio here, and happy to have you here. It's your first time seeing it. What do you think? How did I do?
You did amazing. Like, this just looks so professional. I mean, you're a professional, so you know what you're doing.
Thank you.
And I'm excited to see where this goes for you.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you're the doer of all things tech and digital here at the Huber in the Morning program, and you know, you've been doing your own thing and trying to figure out what's next for you, and still trying to do what you have to do for the Bay. So I just spend all my afternoons here after we get off the show just trying to build this and get it ready. And so I'm glad to break it in with you. I think it's very fitting that you are the first guest here on the program. But let's get right into it. I wanted to give the people a little background. You told a story not too long ago about your desire to intern at 100.7, like, you know, because you're younger. You are, what, 25, right?
26.
26 now. And, you know, that generation of kid didn't necessarily grow up on radio the way us that grew up in the 90s and early 2000s did, and obviously generations before that. But your generation had iPhones and smartphones and all that kind of stuff. And to hear somebody like you that was so interested in the radio, it's an interesting story. Kind of tell us how you fell in love with radio in the Bay.
So I fell in love with the Bay when I was probably like 8 or 9 years old, just from being in the car with my mom.
Okay.
Who, this was her station. This is what she listened to all the time.
So she's been a big fan of the music of the Bay. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. So that's what I grew up on. I grew up on classic rock. And then eventually, as I got a little bit older, I started feeling more connection towards the personalities and understanding what more radio was.
Which is kind of the magic of radio, right? I mean, that's what, you know, you can get those songs, even back then, you could still get them on CD or whatever. And obviously they're easy to get now through streaming services or whatever. But the stuff that happens between the records, the promotions, the events, the stories told by the on-air personalities is what draws a lot of people in.
Yeah, and I used to love entering. Well, I still do. I still love to enter contests. Right. But when I was that young, the best I could do was radio contests, because as long as I was like over 13, I guess,
that's right,
I could start to enter. And I remember there was another station here in the Baltimore area that I won a contest for, and it was like a guess who the celebrity voice is, and every day there was more money added to the pot. And it was Tim Allen, and I was like, oh my god. And why I knew that as like a 13, 14-year-old, I was like, Mom, that's Tim Allen, we gotta win. And I won $30 in like a Maryland scratch-off ticket that my mom ended up having to use.
And that's what one of the things that got the bug bit for you?
Yeah, I've always loved music. Once I started playing the bass guitar, I was about 9 years old when that started. And then I've always been a talker, So when I realized I could combine my love of music with talking, I was like, this is the most perfect job in the entire planet.
Yeah. And look, you have come on as more of a personality here at the Bay, more of than just a behind the scenes person, whether it's on the social media or, you know, from 6 to 10 on the air with the show. And but you talk a decent amount on there. But when you get this girl in the office, I mean, it can get
it's a little bad.
I don't think bad is the right word. I don't think bad. It's just you get excited. You're excitable.
I do get very excited, and I feel so bad because I'll see videos online of other people doing that, and I'm just like, man, they have no situational awareness whatsoever. And then it'll get to me, and it's just right over my head, gone.
I think that happens. I think you get sucked into a moment, you know, and time blindness of an ADHD person can kick in, and then next thing you know, you don't know what's going on anymore. You don't know where you are anymore, and you know, who knows? That's where the time just gets lost a little bit.
And it's funny because I've never been like officially diagnosed with ADHD, but a lot of the habits I have, I've seen in myself through you.
Well, I'm not a doctor, but I play one on the radio enough to know that well, short of you taking some sort of a test, I'm going to give you a better than average shot of it being ADHD.
Oh, yeah.
Especially because a big part of that is, what is the word I'm looking for? Novel. Like, you enjoy new things. Like, the bright and shiny object is always the most appealing thing to the ADHD brain.
Yeah.
And it's like, once you conquer a task, then it becomes mundane. But when it's new and exciting and you're digging into it and trying to figure it out, that's when the ADHD brain lights right up.
That's very true.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably how I became a musician, and ADHD goes a lot hand in hand, I feel like, with creative industries, and now here I am.
Yeah, I think it is definitely well represented in the arts community.
For sure.
Now, take us back to, so you're riding to school, work, whatever, with your mom. You're listening to 100.7 The Bay. You're listening to the music. You're necessarily maybe playing the contest, whatever it is. What makes you go from just being a fan to thinking this is something I could get into and actually do?
So I've always, maybe it's the ADHD thing, just sitting down doing nothing has never been, I like to be creative and go out and do stuff. And when I was about 13, 14, I had made a Twitter account.
Okay.
And at least I think you were allowed to at that age, but it was a fan. I might have tweaked my age a little bit, but I made a fan.
You had to lie yourself a little bit
Yes.
older maybe to make sure that you were able to do it.
So I made a fan account on Twitter.
Okay.
So it was nothing personal with anything out there, but I was a huge fan of Cody Simpson.
Okay.
Who was like an Australian kind of Justin Bieber, people call him.
Okay.
And I followed the Bay on Twitter.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, oh my gosh, wait, you can work here. I could do an internship at this station. So I had messaged the Bay, and one of the jocks at the time, it wasn't you, but one of the jocks at the time had messaged back and was like, oh, you have to be 18 years old to be an intern. It has to be for school credit. And for some reason, in my 13-year-old brain, I remembered that.
Just locked that information away for 5 straight years.
For 5 straight years, if not more, because literally I went through high school, and then my sophomore or junior year of college is when I started getting the ball rolling to see if I could intern at the Bay.
And did you know enough about radio at the time to even have an idea of what you would want to do there? Did you know you just kind of wanted to be involved in it in some way, shape, or form? You just wanted to be in the building?
I just wanted to be in the building. Like, I didn't know how anything worked, but I was a music major at Towson University, so I took a lot of audio classes and mixing with music, so I thought something behind the scenes in the programming relating to the music would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, it is not uncommon for those of us who get into radio for music to be your gateway drug into it, and then once you get into it, you realize all the other aspects. There's production, there's voiceover stuff, there's actually being a jock, there's behind-the-scenes promotions, marketing, all that stuff. As you realize the other aspects of it, then sometimes your path kind of shows itself while you're in there, thinking you're going to be this great music curator or whatever it is.
Yeah, exactly. And right when I had submitted everything, now at Towson as a music major, I wasn't required to do an internship. So I went through every single process to get that internship approved. And that was before I even had an interview with the Bay.
So you, in the structure of your major, as a music major at school, there was not an internship, so you had to create the fact that you could intern as a music major and still get credit for it. Because we at the Bay don't take interns that aren't receiving school credit, because otherwise we'd have to pay you. Otherwise it's slave labor. So you have to get something out of it. So you had to literally change the logistics of what goes on at your school in order to be able to do it.
Yeah, for some reason, being a music performance major, you just aren't required to do an internship. But there was like a gen ed or a core, as they call it, that an internship was an option. So I said, what if I did that in a music-related field? So I had to showcase why working at a radio station would be related to being a music major, besides the fact that it's all music.
Music, of course.
And I had to get approval. I had to write up a proposal. It was crazy.
So let's just say you went through all that hassle and you went to the interview, and whoever interviewed you was like, no thanks. This is 5 years in waiting. This is creating your ability to even be able to do it through school. Was there a level of nerves when you went in there to interview being like, if I did all this work and I don't get this internship, what is going on?
Honestly, I didn't even think about that. I guess maybe it was like a confidence I had
that you were going to nail it. If you got
out.
in there, you were going to get it. There was just no doubt.
Yeah, and it's not like in some like ego way. It was
right,
just,
no, I get it. Right. You just had the faith
maybe not
that it
the
was
faith,
going to work out.
And I was naive, so I was just like, you know, why wouldn't this if I'm passionate about it? But in hindsight, maybe I would have tried for another station. I don't know.
Had like a, what do they call it when you apply to college? Your backup or whatever it is, your fail
backup
safe
or plan
whatever.
B.
Yeah, maybe you could have had one of those. So you go in, you interview, and you get the gig. Now I do remember you starting as an intern. I don't have a ton of memories of that, though. I mean, what was do you have any highlights of the internship that you remember specifically?
Yeah, like my first week as an intern, I was with the lovely promotions director, Donna Jean, and she took me out to Oregon Ridge. And it was this thing you guys...
Was this Cicada Week?
It was Cicada Week. I was just about to say, it was this thing you guys were doing called Cicada Week. Now, I am terrified of bugs.
You hate bugs. You hate
so
bugs
much.
more than anybody I know.
Literally, if I hear a single buzz go by me, I will be out the door like
and if
so
I
fast.
remember right, the Cicada Week thing over at Oregon Ridge was like a park ranger over there, and it was during the cicada infestation, and I think they were like cooking them up to eat them or something like that. It was wild.
It was wild. So like I remember that day, I was like, okay, I need to be composed. This is like my second day as an internship.
You can't go in there flying your I hate bugs freak flag on like day one. Right.
Yeah, because I barely knew anyone. I wanted to be professional. And so, and this is like the 17-year cicadas. This is where there's like
it was a big deal.
A ton everywhere.
I mean, I kind of pitched really hard the fact that I wanted to do Cicada Week. I was like, look, this is... You know, you want to be local in radio. You want to connect with people, what's going on in their lives. Everybody's affected by this. They're in your cars. They're in your yard. They're screaming at night. I was like, instead of just avoiding it or complaining about it, let's just kind of latch onto it and just embrace it. And we really went over the top as if we were some kind of like a news channel. There were like cicada updates and cicada stories and all that kind of stuff. It was fun.
It was so wild. So we get out there to Oregon Ridge, and I wore long pants on purpose. Like, I didn't wear a dress. I wore long pants. It was like 90 degrees. I'm wearing a denim jacket and like my hair up so it didn't get in my curls, anything like that. And we were with Colleen Carew.
Yeah, I remember she was the spearhead of that that event. Yeah.
And we walk out there, and the park ranger guy, he had all these like cooking, like camper cooking stuff. I don't know. And they just like had a container of already caught cicadas. And then starts cooking them. And then he brings like dipping sauces and Old Bay. And then Donna Jean's like, oh, you gonna try one? I was like, no. And then Colleen, the queen she is, just walks up and goes like, oh yeah. And then I could hear it crunch, and I just lost my mind.
Oh my God.
And then they both started pressuring me, and they were like, oh, come on, eat one. And I felt like I needed to. So I have a video of me trying it. With a little like toothpick, like it was cheese or something. And then it touched my lips. I freaked out and spit it out.
Oh my God.
And that was day 2 of my internship.
So that's day 2. As the internship goes on, probably going to events, broadcasts, having to like call winners and execute contests, stuff like that in the studio. Anything else sticks out?
Well, so when I had applied for the internship, COVID happened. So I actually got the internship, and then COVID took over the world, and I was not able to do it. So I stayed in touch with you guys.
Right.
And then a whole year later, I stayed in touch that whole time. And Donna Jean was like, yeah, now we're allowing them. It's a summer later. You can come in.
That's right.
So my whole internship, I didn't get to go to any of the usual concerts and events because none of that was quite happening yet.
No.
So everything I did for my internship was pretty much in-house, which is where at that point I just took advantage of it. And I said, all right, I'll sit in with every department, see who does what might be interesting. And I just went from there.
Yeah. And you did a great job. You impressed everybody at the Bay to the point where as your internship came to a close, we were like, we got to get this girl something to do here so that we don't lose her. And you ended up in our traffic department. And for those who are uninitiated in radio, traffic does not mean cars on 695 in the morning and afternoon. It means taking the commercials that are ordered by the clients and putting them in a particular order so that they go on the air the right way. And it's not sexy.
No.
It's not glamorous, but it got you in the door, and we wanted to keep you in the door. until we figured out how to better use your needs.
Yeah, I
Or
remember.
not your needs, your skill set.
Well, needs to.
Yeah.
I wanted it. But I remember my internship ended, and it was about a week where I hadn't come in. And then the general manager at the time, Jefferson, he called me, and I was getting new glasses. I vividly remember sitting there at the eye
You
doctor.
knew what was you remember what was happening when you got the call?
Yeah, I was there, and it was in like the Avenue in White Marsh. And I was like, wait, why is WZBA calling me? This is really bizarre. So he leaves a message, and I listen, and he was like, hey, we might have an opening here, and I'd love to talk to you, and, let me know if you'd be interested. And he gave the whole rundown. Like, he knew I was still a student at Towson. He was like, I'll work with you. It'll be part-time, but if you need to come and go between classes and split up your hours, we can do that.
Yeah.
Just come and talk to me, and we'll see if it can fit. And
It was
then it
cool.
went from there.
Yes, and now I can remember all of that. I can remember then, as you are wont to do, you ended up doing more than just the traffic department. You started grabbing the social media reins and doing things with photos and videos and stuff like that, to the point where the part-time traffic position, we were like, we got to give this girl more hours because we'll get way more cool stuff out of her. And all of a sudden you went from part-time to full-time.
Yeah, and I remember that day too, because the whole week before I became full-time, I didn't know, but I had gotten COVID. So like 2 years later. And
you, again, you're germaphobe, you hate
Yes.
bugs. You were adamant that you were not going to get COVID. I mean, you were
I was convinced.
You were like girl in a bubble.
I was. The amount of Lysol. I remember like going on Lysol hunts to the grocery store. Now, I didn't like hoard them. I wanted other people to be able to get it. But they had limits, so you could only buy one or two.
God, I have all this stuff blocked out. You're right.
Yeah.
As you say it, I remember it all now, but God, I have it all blocked out. I hated it so much.
It was so bad. Like, I was so fearful of just going to the grocery store, and like we would come home and I would wipe down like the jug of milk, and then my mom sat it on the counter, be like, well, you didn't wipe down the counter. You got to wipe down the counter. And I actually think I'm the one that got it. And then I gave it to my family, so that I felt so bad. But point of that is, though, is after that week, it was like my second day back from being sick, and you invited me onto the morning show with Matt Weitzel, who does the afternoons.
Yeah, when the Huber in the Morning program first started, it was Matt and I in the mornings, and we had you in. With some guys. It wasn't why. Yeah, we lied to you and said, come in here and do something for some reason. I can't even remember what it was.
I can't remember either.
Yeah, but it was basically to give you some good news.
Yeah, and then I came into the studio, and you guys threw me on air and said, actually, no, you guys gave me a letter. It was an envelope, and I opened it up, and you made me read it. And it was from I guess whoever owns the company, or maybe it was from Steve. I can't remember. But I read it, and it said effective whatever the date was, you will be a full-time employee. And it was so exciting. You guys like threw like a little mini party on air.
I remember like being very happy to be able to do it.
Yeah.
And to be completely honest, knowing that you were going to like have a cool reaction to it, I was like, we got to capture this on air. I don't want to just waste this in some meeting in the conference room, with a bunch of people. I was like, we got to do this so that, we can get a genuine reaction out of her and really share this news with all the listeners who, over the course of the time that you've been here, whether it's, again, through the social media channels or through being on the air, have really developed a relationship with a lot of the listeners, especially because we're going to fast forward a little bit, through the last, year or so. You've been a big part of the Huber in the Morning program, and one of your main duties is communicating directly with the listeners through the text service.
Yeah, so every morning I came in with you guys, and I have the whole text board set, sitting in front of me and our phones, and I get to text all the listeners, which honestly,
it's great, right?
It's so
you
great.
get just the most random, hey, good mornings, how you doing? They know what you're up to, so they'll ask about the things you've been talking about on the air, have you finished this party? Did you go to do this gig? Whatever the things that come up, they know what's going on. It is a really unique feeling, and one of the main reasons I loved whatever you want to say, radio so much is because of that connection you make with the people. You become part of their routine. You become part of their daily habits, and it's something that is, I think, unique. And look, this is a new format here. This is a new platform, and, I think that watching it is great, but I think watching it in real time is the closest thing to radio, if it's a live stream or whatever, and we hope to get to more of that soon. But, you've definitely connected with the listeners here as you've made your way through the ranks at the Bay.
it's been so cool because, like you just said, that's an element of radio I didn't quite know when I got into it is just the community that's around live local radio with real people,
sure.
real personalities. And again, it's someone else I got to talk to without bothering you guys. So I was like, all right, like this is perfect for me. I can just type away, and it was good.
All right, so now let's move forward. Here we are at the heading towards the end of the Bay, which is just kind of crazy to even say out loud. I'm still not even used to saying it or thinking it or whatever, as we, at the time of taping here, have a couple of weeks left, at least, maybe more, maybe, not less, but at least a couple of weeks, maybe 3, maybe 4, who knows, but maybe 2. And obviously everybody's kind of scurrying to figure out what's next. And I've struggled with it, which is one of the reasons I've built, what you're sitting in right here, because I don't want to do anything different. Like, I want to do as close to what I've been doing as I can. This seemed like the best way to kind of stick into doing that. But I'm in a different stage in my life than you are, than N-Dub is, than Matt from the afternoon show is, than everybody is. And Colleen's in a different place than all of us. So, like, it is kind of weird to think that the band might break up. I hope this, what we're sitting in here now, can be an outlet for all of us to stay as together as possible and continue to put forth content that Bay listeners can come and find here on the internet. But it is going to be different than being in the office every day with all these people and seeing them and feeling that. I mean, I know that you've been through a range of denial to anger and all those things. Where are you at right now?
I'm definitely at the acceptance phase,
Yeah.
like what's like the 5 phases of grief or whatever. Like first day, I just remember, it's like you nailed it on the head. It's when you work pretty much anywhere in broadcasting, that just becomes your family. And we were such a small team that, occasionally people might do something and get annoyed, but it's because you're family. And when we were sitting there in that meeting and found out, I vividly remember, like, I looked at you because this is something I'd never been through before, and neither had you, which is amazing for radio. 26 or something years in radio. I've had 2 jobs, and the leaving 98 Rock to go to the Bay was my choice. Right. So I've never had to go through this, which is unique, admittedly, unprecedented and unique to not only have a career in radio that's only been at 2 radio stations, but in the same town. I never had to move. I never had to pack a U-Haul. Very fortunate in that regard. And, in my heart of hearts, I never assumed that I was going to get a gold watch at 65 years old from radio and walk out the door having retired from it. You know what I mean? But also, I didn't think it would be what happened. What happened right then, too. Yeah.
So, I totally shocked. Yeah,
I didn't expect it either. And like, I literally just you were looking down, but I could feel your heart sink the same time mine did. And I was preparing because we kind of had a feeling like a couple hours beforehand.
I remember saying at some point the day before, or maybe 2 days before, I was like, there's some weird stuff going on. And I said, if we get a calendar invite for a visit from corporate, it's not going to be good.
Yeah,
and
I remember
2-3 days after that, we got that calendar invite, and I said, oh, no, this is not going to be good.
And I felt so bad because we were doing the morning show, and Steve, now he always makes the joke anytime we would have an all-staff meeting.
Yeah.
Oh, here come the pink slips.
We would do a pizza party to like, Matt White's had a baby. We had a baby shower, and he get invited to that. He's like, is this where we all get fired?
Exactly.
Is this where we all get fired? I'm like, dude, every big meeting doesn't mean we're going to get fired. But when we got the invite for that one, I was like, this might be us getting fired.
Because as soon, like, he said it, and I looked over at him, but then when I looked at you, and you were like, no, this is serious, that's when I was just like, oh, okay, this might be happening.
Yeah, there had been a lot of things leading up to that point that were kind of red flaggy. And all those, what is it? If it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, at some point you got to start saying, this is a duck.
Yep.
Yeah. And there were some engineering things that started to happen that led me to believe that, like I said, when we got that, the next calendar invite we got with the bosses wasn't going to be about, here's some pizza and here's our fourth quarter review.
Yeah.
And it wasn't going to be that. It was not going to be good. And so here we are, facing the end of this. All kind of scurrying to try to figure out what's next. I have no idea from my end. I love the folks at WJZ. Hopefully I can continue to do some stuff with them. I have enjoyed setting this thing up. And again, open access to whoever wants to use it, however we can. I think I'm, onto something here, hopefully, and maybe we can parlay some some 100.7 The Bay fans into getting content from Bay staffers
Yeah.
through this vehicle. That's the best I can do right now. Now, as you've had time to reflect and you think about what's moving forward, any feelings of like thinking about, things from the Bay that you liked or memories, any of that kind of mushy fun stuff?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've been through every stage. I didn't really quite get the anger stage, I don't think. Just I'm too much of a lovey person.
And, there's some logic, right? Look, it's 2026. I still love radio. There's a lot of, I'm not trying to get too crazy. There's a lot of companies that don't do it the right way. There's a lot of stations that do it the right way. And, I'll give a shout out. We're lucky here in Baltimore that 98 Rock and Hearst do it the right way. They stay live. They stay local. They're out in the community. We were doing the same thing. And there's plenty of other good stations that take that model too. But then there's also radio stations that pipe in, content from other places and have jocks on the air that aren't from where they, are being broadcast to and stuff. And it cheapens it a little bit. But you're right. I mean, overall, I love it. I love the connection.
It gave me such a better perspective. Like once all of this has unfolded, I've been able to sit back and reflect on my time in radio. I mean, it's only been about 5 years, but those 5 years I can now say and look back and be like, wow, I did that.
Yeah.
I had such a fun time doing it. And like you just said, we're very thankful to be able to do it right. Like it was real people, real personalities, real community, and real family. And just the outpouring of love and support has just been so heartwarming.
Unbelievable. There's a lot of people that tell me from time to time that I know a lot of people and I've been here forever and yada, yada. And I believe it. It's not like I don't believe it, but I haven't really felt it until this happened. I mean, phone and email and texts and messaging through social media, yada, yada, yada. You name it, I've been reached out to because of this. And it does really let you know how deep your roots get from doing radio in a market this long. And you've seen it after just 5 years. I mean, I got 20 or more on you from being a part of this. And people are really they're in their feels about this.
They really are. And this made me think of a conversation I just had. I still take bass lessons, even though I am very proficient at my instrument. But you can never stop learning. And that's a philosophy I live by.
Yeah.
And I was talking to him about it. And he works in healthcare. And he had just was in a transition of jobs too. And I was like, I can't even imagine. I was like, I'm this upset. I was like, you're in healthcare. I'm like, you actually change lives. And he's like, whoa, 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 whoa. He's like, Alex, do never say that again. He was like, you have impacted and changed lives in ways you might not even know. He was like, you could be connecting with someone, you're on the air and they're driving, and maybe that joke you said or that conversation that was happening was the one thing that kept that person's day going. And you just never know who you are brightening their day. You never know what impact you're making. And just seeing the flood of texts and calls and comments on Facebook and Instagram has really kind of opened my eyes to that, yeah, this is a creative field, it's entertainment, but it's so much more than that. It's community, and there's nothing better than that.
It is 100% true. It's one of the highest compliments as a radio person you can get is when somebody says, I broke up with my significant other and you helped me through it. Or I was having, my, parent, sibling, whatever passed away and listening to you kind of brought me out of it. Or even as little as I got to work today and I was 5 minutes late because I couldn't turn the car off. I had to hear the end of your story or this bit or whatever. I mean, that's magic. Those things are magic. And as much as I love where we're sitting right now in this format, I'm not 100% sold yet that it can create that same type of magic in that live real-time moment. I don't know if it's something about the technology of the way that signal goes through the air or what it is. I don't know, but radio is something special. I'm going to miss the hell out of it if I don't end up back in it. But this, it feels to me at least as close to what it could be.
Oh, for sure.
As anything else. So, it's wild. But yeah, I mean, I'm the same way as you. I look backwards with nothing but awesome opportunity. I can't believe I got to do that.
Yep.
And I can't believe, I was an intern in 1998 at a radio station, and here it is 2026, and, maybe this is the end of the run, maybe it's not, but, that's a good run from intern to morning show and program director and all that. It's been fun.
It's an amazing run, and I like to think of it not that, oh my gosh, this is ending. what am I going to do? But very much in a positive mindset that I got to do that. I got to have those memories. I like to compare it to, I'm an old soul, so I like a lot of old TV shows.
You're definitely an old soul.
And I kid you not if I say that our station was so much like WKRP Cincinnati in terms of I can assign a person to each personality. Like, what was her name? Bailey, I think it was. Like, she was the traffic director. She ultimately got on air. But, like, the fact that when I was 13 years old, I said, I want to work here. And now I'm 26 years old, and I can now say,
you did it.
We are, someone told me that we should have faith in the fact that we are now the era of 100.7 The Bay. Like, when people think of the station, we're the ones that will come to mind.
Yeah.
We were there till the end, and Huber in the Morning, like, that show is going to be what is in their head.
It is a unique opportunity, and like you said, whatever comes next, you have to look at it as opportunity instead of, something negative, because it is. I mean, who knows? Depending on how spiritual you are, what you believe in as far as faith and fate and those types of things, you can't look at it any other way. And and I hope I'm glad to hear that you're in that boat, and I hope that everybody else we work with is too. And the hopes is to be able to talk to more of our colleagues and friends and family at the Bay, to have them come on here, share their feelings about it. I'm done with questions. You have anything else you want to just talk about randomly that you want to, just a memory or a thought or something along those lines?
I don't know. There are so many fun memories just like from the station. I mean, one of my favorites is, I guess, how I got to where I'm at now is I saw a need with our station with social media, and we didn't quite have it. So that's how I ultimately became the social media director, by creating your pages for Huber in the Morning. And one of my favorite memories is what we just did, which was about, I guess, a couple weeks ago, was for your birthday. I decided I wanted to pull a prank. And the worst part, what was about to come. So I feel like it's almost bittersweet that I did this big hurrah, which was, for those of you watching and listening, is I filled up Huber's office, I mean, with 400 balloons. That's and they were the big ones too. And it was crazy. I just got the idea from, it was like Michael's or something, and I walked past balloons.
It was wild.
And it was like $1 for like 50 balloons. And I thought to myself,
yeah, that's not going to take a lot of dollars to fill up the,
not at all. And of course I bought a little pump off of Amazon, and then I stayed at work. You had left for the day. And I stayed, and it took about 2.5 hours to fill up your whole office.
It's crazy. And you documented it the whole time on the web.
And that's one of the glorious things, I guess, is that ended up being our most viral video of the station.
That's so cool.
That video. It got like almost 100,000 views in the first week, and it's just crazy to look back, because like that was all such an innocent and pure, like, let's have some fun. And then like a week later, the world ended.
That's right. Well,
now I want to. What about your favorite memory?
Oh God, it'd be tough for me to pick one. I mean, there's a lot of things that happened there that were super fun and cool, but overall, I think I never, when I got into radio, I wanted to be a music director, which I was at 98 Rock for a long time, and that was something I wanted to do. And I got to do it. I liked being on the air. I never thought that was going to be, my future and the track that I was on. And when we got our new general manager, who's the one who's, kind of riding off into the sunset with us here, I was doing an afternoon drive. Yeah, I was doing an afternoon drive. And Matt Weitzel and I did the weight loss challenge thing.
That's right.
And we ended up doing a broadcast from Jimmy's Seafood, and we had all these people out there, and it was fun. And soon thereafter, he called me into the office. He's like, what are we doing here? He's like, you're doing a morning show in the afternoon. And God bless Colleen was just doing a music kind of based morning show. And we had Matt Davis on and in the middays. And it was like, let's just reshuffle the deck here and let's, give you a shot at mornings. And it was just like so wild to me, because I never, and as the program director, I'm like, what am I going to go in there and be like, hey, I should be doing mornings? You know what I mean? I just didn't, I don't know. It just felt like, I don't know, but for him to suggest it and to make it happen and to kind of, come full circle. And I always kind of wanted to do it, but I was always afraid. It was like a big leap of faith, but That was wild for me. And those first couple of weeks, I mean, we were so dumb. We had no idea what we were doing.
It was so fun, though. I remember that. And that's the cool thing, I guess, because I was there when that transition
I
happened.
can just remember looking over at Matt so many times. We're like, what are we doing right now? He goes, I don't know.
Yeah.
And the song would end, and we would just figure it out.
You would just start talking.
And sometimes it was good, and sometimes it was bad.
I remember you would stay on like the same topic for
the
like
whole
3
show,
hours.
the whole show sometimes would be about like, if somebody calls you, is it okay to text them back or just something dumb like that? And that would literally be 4 straight hours of taking texts and phone calls about that same topic. We never changed topics. We didn't have any segments. We didn't have anything.
Because it started pretty fast after it got restructured there.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, oh, here's like a month or 2 to figure out what you're going to do.
It was like very late winter, early spring, and the first day was opening day.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Yeah, the first day of the new lineup was opening day.
Oh my
so the
gosh.
first day doing mornings was live from Pratt Street Ale House. That was the first day
That's
of Huber in the
crazy.
morning, and it was wild.
How do I not remember that? Oh my God.
I will say the other thing, now you just got me thinking, the other thing that definitely stands out 100% is being on the radio the morning the Key Bridge fell over.
Oh, yeah.
Was knocked over, didn't fall. And knowing that I didn't want to do the normal show, but knowing that we had to be on the air, we had to be live, we had to take reactions, we had to deliver. I mean, at that point, it was still a breaking story. I mean, I can remember getting up at 4:30, seeing the video, thinking it was AI, and then going on a social and seeing it on, WJZ and BAL, and I was like, oh, this is real. Like, oh, my God. And just couldn't get in there fast enough. Like, I don't think I showered. I just probably wore the clothes I had on, whatever, just to get the hell in there and start, because we didn't know if there was cars, injuries, and unfortunately, we lost 6 of the construction workers and that kind of thing. But, like, it was still a very new story so we were learning along with people all morning long, and being able to be there for people and being able to give out that information and be a part of that. And then to hear from people the following opening day, which was only a month or 2 after that, which was year 2, I guess, of the show, to hear people be like, hey, you that morning kind of got us through that, and thank you for being there that morning. That's one of my absolute favorite memories of the whole deal, for sure. Well, thank you for this today.
Yeah, thank you.
And hopefully this isn't the last time, you're on here with me. I hope we can do plenty more of this types of stuff